Hey, what's going on, everyone? This is Mitch. Good Wednesday morning to you all. Hope you guys are doing well out there, staying warm. It's very chilly across a large portion of the country. We'll talk about that obviously in this video. Even areas down there in Florida, very, very chilly this morning, depending on where you live. And certainly your first taste of fall for certain areas in Florida. We'll talk a little bit about that. But I hope you guys have been having a great week. Sorry I didn't get a video out last night. You know, not a whole lot's changed from the grand scheme of things, but stay tuned tonight. We're going to talk about what I'm seeing for the remainder of the month, remainder of October, and we'll try to break some things down for you guys, as there's definitely some differences in the models on what potentially could happen. There's been some changes that I've been watching over the last 2 days of, you know, is there a warm-up coming? Is there another cold blast behind that warm-up? What's going on? So we're going to talk about that tonight, so stay tuned. If you guys have not subscribed, certainly consider doing that. Like the video if you like it. Appreciate the support in these slower times, but, you know, more busier times are certainly right around the corner with winter certainly on the way. It's certainly feeling like winter out there. If you guys got anything that I can pray about, pray over, please put it in the comments below. It gives me an opportunity to pray over it, and it gives others an opportunity to do so too. Let's get rolling. This morning, water vapor loop, you know, where the cold front hasn't really fully cleared, basically it's clearing, but that dry air really hasn't filtered all the way through the entire state of Florida. It will throughout the morning and afternoon hours. It'll make it all the way to Miami. You still got some moist air, relatively pretty moist air in the atmosphere, and especially if you live in the far south you go in the peninsula of Florida, certainly the more humid it still feels out there. But I do think you'll feel a difference as you work your way throughout the day, especially for areas down to Miami, even potentially making it to Key West. You can certainly will feel a little bit of dryness to the air. But if you're anywhere from Tampa Bay, for example, in Tampa, you know, I'm looking at my weather app here, the Surface app. Tampa, you're waking up to the upper 50s. Orlando, the mid to upper 50s. Jacksonville, you guys are in the 40s this morning. And then the Panhandle of Florida, there are certain areas in the 30s this morning. And then like in my neck of the woods here in central South Carolina, it's around 33, 34 degrees right now per my weather station. So very chilly air dominating the eastern U.S., and then you got the lake effect and the northwest flow moisture popping off where you see these more whiter colors, more moisture in the atmosphere. So watches and warnings, still freeze warnings ongoing. Another cold night in certain areas. Tonight will be colder than what it was last night or this morning. So what I'm saying is tomorrow morning will be colder than this morning in certain areas. But you still got freeze watches up for the Ohio Valley that I guess have not experienced a freeze yet. And then this blue color right into here, that is frost advisories. But I think some of these areas might get upgraded to a freeze warning sometime later this afternoon. In fact, I would say that temperatures this morning certainly have dropped a few degrees lower than was originally forecast. I was thinking maybe 35, 36 here in my area. It's made it all the way to around 33, so we're very close to a freeze here in my neck of the woods. But a freeze warning still ongoing due to sub-freezing temperatures right now in all of these areas you see in this purplish color. So we're breaking down region. I'll tell you, it's not a very active weather day. The only activity I'm seeing is in the Ohio Valley and the Northeast. And there's a little bit of snow falling in Pennsylvania right now, areas of western New York State. We kind of expected that. We'll talk about that here in a second. Let me go on and log off that here. So the southeast, the only area that I'm seeing anything is maybe some showers in the lower elevations of West Virginia, and then maybe some snow showers flying around the higher elevations of West Virginia, and then maybe some lingering rain ahead of where this cold front just has not completely cleared the entire state of Florida. So if you live in Miami, point south, and Key West, you know, you're going to be dealing with some showers still. And then the cold front will completely clear the state if it hasn't already. Hadn't even looked at the analysis on what it looks like at the surface, but it's still close enough or right there enough to where you're still dealing with some showers in the further south tip of Florida. But outside of that, pretty quiet weather across the southeast. This morning, we're dealing with lake effect moisture off Lake Erie, and you can see it right here. We'll get this in motion. Snow being reported just north of Pittsburgh. Snow being reported south of Erie. I'm not sure what's falling in Erie. You guys are right up against the lake, so you got a little bit of some warm air kind of influences the atmosphere that's probably keeping you guys more so rain mixed with snow. But I don't know. I don't have any report out of Erie, so I'm not sure what's falling out of there. But if you live well off the lakes, There's enough cold air entrenched in this area where it's falling as snow. You see the blue right here? That doesn't necessarily mean that snow's falling. It could be a rain mixed with snow. We saw that 2 days ago in northern Indiana, but it's certainly some snow flying around in Pennsylvania, even in areas of Ohio this morning, even down into West Virginia, where I saw a video where it was snowing pretty good in the higher elevations of far western Maryland. So very, very interesting to see that in October. It always is. It's not super, super rare or anything like that, but certainly kind of uncommon. You don't see it a lot. You don't see it every year. But this will continue throughout the morning hours. It'll lessen up, and then the flow will kind of shift more from a northwest to southeast flow to more so a west to east flow. And then you're going to have a lot of cold showers drifting into New York State. Some of these might mix with a little bit of snow. Just depends on where you are. It really does, guys. But if you live in this area right here south of Buffalo, I certainly think you guys are going to see more snow mixing in with the rain. Basically from Erie, points east, and then north of Buffalo, there'll be an area right in here later throughout the afternoon, evening, where you guys can mix more so with snow. And then we'll see what happens up here closer to Watertown, in and around the area. Maybe a lake effect snow band might set up. But either way, the temperatures are too marginal for this to really be a huge deal. Even if it does somehow drop a few inches of snow very quickly, it'll melt very quickly. It's not going to stick around very long. And then we'll see what is happening tomorrow morning, where I'm expecting more kind of lake effect induced moisture popping off the Lake Michigan, things like that affecting Michigan. Maybe some more snow flying around, maybe even a little snow tomorrow morning for Detroit. We'll see what happens there. The South Central U.S., very, very quiet day. Very quiet. No rain in South Texas today, really. Probably one of your more quieter days in a long time. The North Central U.S., outside of just lingering moisture and the UP of Michigan and northern areas of Michigan, pretty quiet day. But you'll still have some lake effects, snow streamers, maybe just some rain in certain areas. So you'll have some flurries flying around throughout the day, potentially into the overnight hours, certainly possible. And then another round will move through as this low pressure pivots back south, pops off some moisture in Michigan overnight. Temperatures today, another cool day. Look at Florida. You guys only in the 60s for most of Florida. So your temperatures, if you're waking up to the 60s in Florida, you won't rebound much at all today. In the southeast, 50s and 60s. In general, not quite as chilly as yesterday. I think places like Birmingham broke a record high-low max. I think you guys only hit 54 degrees in Birmingham with bright sunshine overhead. I mean, I could see that happening with a lot of cloud cover and rain, but this was bright sunshine. There's a big boundary right here with the troughs digging, and basically if you're in the western side of the Dakotas, Kansas, Nebraska, Oklahoma, it'll be nice and warm, 60s and 70s, but on the eastern sides of those states, still kind of chilly in the 50s. Ohio Valley, still in the 40s and 50s, the Great Lakes regions, the 30s and 40s, and then a pretty chilly day in the Northeast, 30s, 40s, 50s for highs. If you live closer to the I-95 corridor, a little bit warmer. But that's all I got, guys. A very quick video. Not a whole lot going on today. Just a chilly air mass still dominates the pattern. Stay tuned tonight. We'll try to figure out what's going to happen the rest of October. God bless all y'all. Have a great day.